getting late, the shops are closed, all good songs have been composed. Ooh la 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 la, ooh la 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 la. Now it's dark, the street lamps lit, all good stories have been writ. Ooh la 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 la, ooh la 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 la. I'll find a bar and drink it dry. Comrades in arms, you all know why. Have you tried falling apart? Have you tried reaching too far? If you try falling apart, you may find a brand new start. Snowflakes fall upon the roofs, benevolent God has been disproved. Ooh la 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 la, ooh la 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 la. The last train leaves the platform now, predestination has allowed. Ooh la 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 la, ooh la 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 la. I'll find a bar and drink it dry. Comrades in arms, you all know why. Have you tried falling apart? Have you tried reaching too far? If you try falling apart, you may find a brand new start. Ooh la 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 la, ooh la 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 la, ooh la 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 la, ooh la 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 la. You try falling apart? Have you tried reaching for stars? Have you tried falling apart? You may find a brand new. Have you tried falling apart? Have you tried reaching too far? If you try falling apart, you may find a brand new start. Hello, welcome to Guitar Trek. I am Richard J. Dowling, boldly going where no band has gone before. And you've just listened to Have You Tried Falling Apart, which I think is what I'm going to call the song. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about, well, I'm going to have to mention the mistake I did right at the end of the song. And as you can imagine, it's a song, I think it's about 4 minutes. So the little fluff right at the end did make me effing blind a bit after I turned off the camera. And then, of course, I had the choice either redo the whole take or upload it with a bit of a mistake in it. And I thought, well, I'll upload it because there's no guarantee that the next take would not have some other little mistake in it. And it's right at the end, and maybe you didn't even notice it until I brought attention to it now. But it's a conversation I've been having with a couple of people on YouTube about perfection in music. And you know, obviously this is a mistake. If this was a finished recorded product, you would not put it out like that. But these YouTube videos I see as demos or sort of samples of the songs. You know, I always say that these are finished songs, but they're not finished recordings. So obviously my intention at some point is to, you know, select the best of these songs and then go into the studio and record them properly. So for me, obviously it's frustrating making mistakes, but we all make mistakes. And what's more frustrating is for me is talent issues, basically. You know, not being able to do something that you have in your head. And for the most part, I've sort of reconciled my songs to my skill level. So at least in terms of just, you know, these YouTube productions. So I don't tend to do guitar solos in them because it's a whole other. I mean, it often takes me as long to write a guitar solo as it does to actually write a song. So it's very time consuming. So the focus tends to be on just simple strumming and singing, and even that's difficult enough for me. So this is basically, I'm operating at the peak of my powers here, for what it's worth. And so, do you focus on perfection, or do you allow some of the mistakes to come through? And obviously, I've chosen in this case to allow some of the mistakes to be shown. And I think for YouTube, I think it's nice seeing that performances are made by human beings. I mean, we become so accustomed to hearing everything being perfect that if somebody makes a mistake, I mean, a lot of these reality shows, they're always focusing on people, you know, singing reality shows, they always focus on somebody being a bit pitchy or this or that and the other. And the reality is that in any art, I mean, you learn from making mistakes. It's a gradual process. You know, everybody's always trying to get better in what they're doing, and I think it's no harm to show that mistakes happen, and it's not the end of the world. And in some ways, I think it shows, you know, we're human beings, and I think as well, YouTube is a sort of, I find it a democratic, at-home art form. It's not about perfection in the same way that when you release a record you want it to be perfect and everything should be good. I think it's more about, you know, if you're with some friends playing guitars and singing songs, you know, if somebody makes a mistake, you'd have a laugh. It wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't ruin the experience. And I see these YouTube videos in the same way. I mean, I do try, and I work very hard trying to get them as best as I can. But then, you know, as I say, if there's a fluff at the last moment, you know, with a song that's 4 minutes, you know, and this is like, I think the second take, I think, and given that my time is restricted as well, it's sort of, well, do I want to risk going for another take? And the answer is no. Anyway, moving on. So this song is in, I think, it's in 3/4 time, which is waltz time. And that's, for those of you who don't know, I'll try and give a brief discussion, but there are far better music channels for the theory. This is the ugly reality of composition, as it were. So first of all, I wanted to do something different because my son is always going on about how much my songs all sound the same. So I thought, okay, well, I'll show him. I'll come up with something that the youngsters of today probably don't know about. And so I played him the song, and he said, oh, it sounds exactly the same as the other one, so it made no difference whatsoever. But for me it did. So I wanted to do something different rhythmically, and 3/4 time is quite easy to play. So you have lots of options. You know, you could do 5/4. 7/4 or whatever. But 3/4 is quite easy. So it's, if I get the guitar. So time is normally in pop songs they're in 4/4 time, which would be 4 beats to a bar of 4 notes, as far as I understand it, which would be sort of 1, 2, 3. No, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 4/4 time. 3/4 time is you're counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's waltz time. And what I like about waltz time is it makes, I mean, if you I recommend to any songwriter, to any musician, to dance, because when you're using your body to a rhythm, it makes you feel the rhythm in a different way. So waltz time, if you sort of dance around the house to waltz time, it does make you move in a certain way. It's an elegant dance for an elegant age, before the dark times, before reggaeton. And so it's something that now I've lost my track now, damn Star Wars references. Where was I? So 3/4 time. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that was the urge to do something in that, because I like waltz time. But then the rest of the song, the bridge or the pre-chorus, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. I'm not sure if it's in waltz time or if it's in like 6/8 time. If you know anything about music, maybe you can tell me. And then the chorus, I think it's still the same. I think it's still all technically 3/4 time, but it might change. It doesn't really matter as long as it works. I don't really mind if I don't know what it's called or whatnot, but I think it works. And musically, it's sort of, I was just on the G chord, and I went to a D minor instead of a D major, because I'd used a D minor chord in my previous week's song, and I liked it, and I just thought it would be nice. So then A major, D minor. So that was a nice chord progression, and then the melody came out quite easily over the top of that. And I was stumbling around for how to get to a chorus, and I was just plugging around the A chord, and I thought, oh, that sounds nice. So that felt like a pre-chorus, like it was building up to something. So I went back to the G, F major, C major. And the melody, again, when I hear the chords, the melody just sort of jumps out to me. So I'm not really composing, it's more like I'm listening and repeating what I can hear that's going on in my subconscious when it sort of gets exposed to chords in different functionalities. So the G chord sounds different here. I guess it's some sort of relative thing that's going on in my head. It sounds different. So the chords sound different depending on what chords are next to them, and that tends to make my brain fill in the gaps or something, and I just hear the melodies, and then I just try to sing them as best I can. But when it comes to the chorus, I think there were 2 or 3 different options I came up with, and I discarded. And I think it's very important to be able to be patient enough to reject certain ideas until you get one that you think is, okay, this is really good. And I'm very happy with the chorus on this. I think it's a very, very strong melody. I think it's memorable. And I think too often people find something that works and it's sort of, it's okay, and then they think that's it, I've done it, and then they move on. But I think there's no real hard and fast rules. I mean, personally, I find that I know when I've got something good. Now, that may be the first thing that comes into your mind, or it may be that you spend weeks or months or years trying to find the right chorus or the right verse, or the right anything. And I think it's important to try to maintain that standard, that you're happy, that you know that you've done something good with it. So musically, it came fairly easy. The problem I had, as usual, was lyrically, and I was a bit lost as to what to write about. Originally, I had the something like a Midnight Lullaby was. I'm not sure if that's exactly how I worded it, but it was definitely with the Midnight Lullaby, because I was thinking of the word lullaby came to mind, and how can I make it sound a bit dark, because the music is asking for a dark theme. In my head it was, anyway. And so I thought, well, a midnight lullaby sounds maybe a little bit not terrifying, but something that's not all sort of sweetness and light, something a little bit dark, without going all gothic. And funny enough, one of the songwriters that I follow on YouTube, Zach Boles, I think, I'm not sure if it's with a Spanish double L, Boyes or Boles, uploaded a song like the day before, and it was called Midnight's Lullaby. It's a really good song, so please check it out. And so that, I mean, I guess there was I could have continued with it, but I just thought, no, I don't want to step on someone else's shoes, as it were. So I went back and looked for something else. And I'm really happy I did, because I'm very happy with this Have You Tried Falling Apart idea, which I think as a title for a song works really strongly. To me it sounds very different. So then I had that Have You Tried Falling Apart idea, and so then the struggle was to try to find something in the verses that reflects this. And the idea, I guess, is that it's getting late, the shops are closed, it's a city at closing down time, which, depending on where you're living now, I mean, all sorts of places going into curfews and toques de queda, as they call them here in Spain. And so I guess that was subconsciously in my mind, the idea of like cities being closed down and stuff. But in the song, it's just, in the evening time. It's getting late, the shops are closed, and all the good songs have been composed. It's like this juxtaposition of ideas. So the city's closing down and all the good songs have been composed. It's like saying, oh, we're living in a time when all the good ideas have been used up. So it's like our imagination is closing down. That was the sort of, it's a bit pretentious, but that's what was going through my head. Now it's dark, the street lamps lit, and all good stories have been writ. So it's the continuation. So everything is closing down, the city's getting ready for night time, and our imaginations have run their course. We've run out of ideas. And again, I think that's probably because I felt I'd run out of ideas lyrically. I was really struggling to find something to say. And then it goes into the bridge, I'll find a bar and drink it dry. And for some reason, this reminds me of like Jacques Brel or Scott, what's his name? Scott Walker, I think, doing Jacques Brel, and those sort of lyrics. Responding to problems by drinking is very, very common, I think, in society. And then going to the chorus, have you tried falling apart? Have you tried reaching too far? It's this idea of struggling to do, in my case, struggling to write a song, or whatever it could be in your case. That sometimes you hit rock bottom, but because you do hit rock bottom, it enables you to go back and reassess things and maybe find a brand new start. So it's a bit dark, but at the same time, I think it's a hopeful message that sometimes we're as a society, we're very afraid of failure, and everyone's got this weird thing about dividing society into winners and losers, and I don't understand it. I mean, you can't, you're human beings. You can't be a winner or a loser at life, I find it a very, very unhealthy thing to do. And so just remembering, I'm sure we've all had our own shares of ups and downs in life, and if there's anything to be said for bad times, is that in some ways it does force you to reassess your life, your choices, try to become stronger or more flexible, or it could be a brand new start. So it's like a message that even though things look black and everything is closing down, could be a brand new start. And that could be personal, or it could be in terms of society, I guess. I guess a lot of people are very unhappy with the direction of the dialogue, at least, is going. And I think a lot of people are looking forward to a time when we can be more civil in our interactions with everyone, regardless of whether they agree with us politically or disagree with us. I think we need more a sane dialogue. So, but anyway, that's all around the back of the song. So, in the second verse, then it was trying to look at more imagery from a city. In this case, snowflakes falling upon the roofs, because it's now. I thought, well, okay, the city's closed in the first verse, so how can I close it even more? And I thought of winter coming, which it is now, although in here where I am it tends to rain more than it snows. So it's continuing the same idea, but then switching it from the ideas having run out to the more sort of metaphysical, benevolent God has been disproved. And these ideas of, God, I guess it's too much to go into in one video, but please let me know your thoughts, and I hope you enjoy this song. I'm very grateful to everyone who's listening to my music and subscribing. Please remember to subscribe and like if you haven't. And it's a real honour to get to know people on YouTube who are doing similar things, writing songs, and it's a privilege. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye bye.